We all know Khârn the Betrayer, the absolute Chad, the coolest world eater, and the biggest skull daddy in the 41st millennium. But have you ever thought, when and how does this guy rest after a long day of murdering folks? Cause he looks like he uses a chainsword as a pillow and screams himself to sleep to the lullaby of slaughter. But seriously, can world eaters actually sleep? Or do they just stand there twitching in a corner?
He's just standing there, menacingly,
vibrating with rage like a PTSD blender. Today, we're diving into one of Warhammer 40k's most cursed questions. How do the angriest boys in the galaxy get some rest? Welcome back to A Falling Cow, where the lore is deep, the jokes are pretty bad, and the blood never stops flowing. And this video, oh, it's a special one, because you've stumbled into Cow's Corner, the part of the channel where we answer the weirdest, dumbest, and most cursed questions that wander out of my smooth, milk-addled brain. Before we continue though, I want to say that the support the channel's been getting lately is just absolutely amazing, and I am so happy that you guys have been liking the content. Cow's Corner is here to stay, so at least once a month I'm going to try to pop out at least one video answering the silliest questions that pop out of my silly brain. So today's question is, can the frothing, murdering, skull-collecting world eaters sleep? Do they tuck themselves in after a long day of murder, or do they just black out mid-scream and wake up mid-slaughter? Let's find out. The World Eaters are one of the original 20 legions created during the Great Crusade, genetically engineered super soldiers built to conquer the stars and reunite humanity under the Emperor's rule. Originally called the Warhounds, they were fierce, aggressive, and frighteningly efficient. But everything changed when they reunited with their Primarch, Angron. And Angron, well, let's just say he wasn't okay.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
He'd been raised in the blood pits of Nusera, a slave gladiator implanted with the butcher's nails, barbaric neural implants that punish the brain for calm and only reward violence. He then would watch his fellow slaves, his chosen family, die in a rebellion when the Emperor yoinked him away at the last moment. And let's just say he never forgave that. And when he finally met his legion, he didn't see sons, he saw strangers, outsiders, and he hated them at first. And the World Eaters, they knew it. They weren't forced to get the butcher's nails, not at first, they chose it. Not because they wanted to suffer, but because they were desperate to feel connected to their Primarch, to understand him, to earn his love, like a 20-year-old sorority girl that has, yes, you guessed it, daddy issues. They saw Angron's torment, saw the nails tearing him apart, and thought, maybe if we share that pain, he'll accept us. And so, they lined up for surgery. Most of the Legion fully knowing that the implants could kill them, fully knowing it would drive them mad. And it didn't even work. Angron never accepted them, the nails only made him more withdrawn, more furious, and more lost. And the World Eaters, they became berserkers, far from the brotherhood they once had, and their legacy, a galaxy-spanning murder cult powered by self-inflicted pain, brain damage, and one of the saddest father-son stories in Warhammer 40k. Before we dive into the question you're here to see answered, I want to discuss what the butcher's nails are in a bit more detail. So what are the butcher's nails? Well, they aren't just some chaos trinkets or corn-approved spice grinders. The nails are brutal neural implants that punish the brain for inactivity. When you're calm, when you're still, when you're not in combat or feeling rage, they start screaming. Literally. They override your dopamine and serotonin responses, flooding your nervous system with pain unless you're either fighting, screaming, or both. You don't feel peace, you feel withdrawals. Imagine your brain is hooked on violence like it's crack, and the moment you stop hitting something, it starts clawing at the inside of your skull, demanding more. That's the butcher's nails. That's what Angron had jammed into his head as a kid, and that's what the World Eaters chose to have implanted in their skulls so they could get a ghost of a smile from their butcher dad. But here's the real horror. The nails don't turn off. Not when you eat, not when you meditate, and definitely not when you try to sleep. So can world eaters sleep? Short answer, no. Long answer, not without a personal trauma team, a dozen sedatives, and maybe a crowbar to the face. The butcher's nails are designed to actively disrupt calm and focus, which are exactly what the brain needs to transition into sleep. If a world eater is dead tired from a 14-hour blood orgy on Armageddon, the nails are still there, pulsing 9, punishing him for slowing down. There are accounts that suggest they get brief moments of unconsciousness, more like collapse though than rest. A few minutes, maybe an hour, but never true, deep, healing sleep. No REM cycles, no dreams, just a blackout before the next round of rage. Some sources say they might be put under with surgical sedation, but that's not really sleep, and even then, the moment they wake up, the nails are still screaming. They are truly never at peace. Angron especially was known to be tormented by this. In the Horus Heresy novels, he's described as being unable to sleep at all. Not just restless, literally never asleep. Decades without it. Can you imagine what that does to a person? Now imagine it happening to a demigod with anger issues and an axe the size of a Prius. Before Angron fully embraced his fate as a demon Primarch, it's said his librarians could put him into a coma-like state, a kind of forced rest to ease his suffering. But even then, it was a fragile truce with his tortured mind. A temporary silence before the storm. Angron's mind was being chewed apart from the inside, not just by rage, but by unrelenting, waking madness brought on by the nails. No wonder he was always screaming. No wonder he tore through the galaxy like a blender full of red paint. Well, what happens if they try to sleep? If a world eater somehow tries to sleep, say he's exhausted, wounded, maybe under heavy medication, the nails still go berserk. Some lore suggests this triggers horrible nightmares, seizures, or violent spasms. The brain is being chemically punished for disengaging. Sleep becomes a battlefield. And Angron, his entire existence was like being trapped in a never-ending heavy metal concert, but not the fun kind. The kind where the band is on fire and screaming directly into your frontal lobe. He didn't sleep, he literally couldn't. He just sat in the dark, alone with the nails screaming into his skull, and probably wondering if death would finally give him silence. This is why the World Eaters are so tragic. Not just violent, not just evil, they are broken. Willingly turned into something less than human, just to earn love from someone who had none left to give. Now, of course, all this raises the question, what about Khârn? Surely, the most famous World Eater has a bedtime routine, right? Well, based on a deep analysis of ancient texts, by which I mean Reddit comments and meme scrolls, here is Khârn the Betrayer's actual sleep schedule. 9 p.m., slaughters 47 guardsmen and one very unfortunate commissar who made direct eye contact. 9:15, screams at the moon for 18 minutes. 9:33, tries to lay down, and the butcher's nails start playing through the fire and the flames inside his skull. 9:35, gets mad about the concept of sleep. 9:40, murders sleep, and now sleep is dead. 9:41 to 6 a.m, running laps around the Eye of Terror, shrieking the word,
Blood for the blood god! Blood for the blood god! Blood for the blood god!
6:01, breakfast, which is raw cow meat and recaf spiked with chain blade oil. So no, even Khârn doesn't sleep, but he does make time to not sleep in the most violently punctual way possible. So can World Eaters sleep? Not really, not unless you count collapsing from exhaustion and waking up with your own chainsword already revving. The butcher's nails make peace impossible. The desire to be close to Angron made damn sure of that, as the whole legion now suffers like he does. And the result is a group of post-human rage monsters who've traded rest, sanity, and even identity for a father's love that never came. And if that's not the most Warhammer 40k thing you've ever heard, I don't know what is. This has been another episode of Cow's Corner, the place where we ask the galaxy's strangest questions so you don't have to. Stay angry, stay tragic, and as always guys, stay milked. I'll see you in the next video.